Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome into O'Neill's Grill here on University Boulevard for our weekly Fan and Press Luncheon, the first one of 2015 with JMU head football coach Everett Withers. We do apologize here in the house that our house speakers aren't working at the moment, so I'm in the shout mode right now here within the restaurant. My name's Kurt Dudley from Matazone HD Sportsnet, and of course the head coach of the Dukes now in his second season, Everett Withers. And Coach Withers and I chatted just a moment ago. He's got a few things to kind of just lay out here to begin our press conference today, Coach.
Yeah, thank you, Kurt. Just for starters, I want to thank Mo and Tim here at O'Neill's for putting on the press luncheon every Monday. Mo hired my daughter this summer to work at O'Neill's, and I appreciate that for Mo doing that. She had a lot of fun, and she wanted me to tell Mo thank you. So I wanted to do that first of all. A couple things on the personnel front, just to kind of get out of the way and get done. Talk about injuries and other issues on our team, so we can kind of get that done. For week one in our season, guys that'll be out. Trey Sharp just had knee surgery a week ago, a little meniscus. He's going to be out for the first game, maybe the first two games of the year. Josh Harpengardner, our defensive lineman on our football team, had thumb surgery a few weeks back. He's probably 2 weeks out before he's well. Bryce Edmond, a walk-on wide receiver, is going to have meniscus surgery on Friday, and he'll be out probably 3 to 4 weeks. Guys that have been on the injured list that are on our football team. Tyler Thrasher Walker is out for the season. He got hurt last spring. He'll come back and start rehabbing with us on today, matter of fact. Nick Grayson, one of our 2015 signees, hurt his knee the first day of practice. He is back home. He has a medical waiver. He will not go to school this fall. He will come in like a gray shirt in January, so he will not be in our numbers this year. He will start next year. Jonathan Dredge, who had knee surgery last October, is probably doubtful for the first 2 or 3 weeks. He's a punter. Hopefully he can get back and be back in the rotation maybe by week 3 or 4. And maybe 2 more. A.B. Rhodes, who hurt his knee last year during training camp, not this past August, but the year before, has taken a medical DQ and will not be playing football. He will be hopefully working in the football office, but will not be playing football. And the last one, Martez Stone, junior college transfer, will not be eligible this year due to transfer rules, and he will practice with us this year, go to school, and be eligible next year. So wanted to get that out of the way to start off with, and ready to get on with Morehead.
All right, good. A lot of player personnel adjustment typically is this time of year what you have to do. So thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Coach, let's go back a little bit, if you don't mind, before we get into Morehead. And at the beginning of your camp here in August, I'm sure you had some missions, some objectives that you wanted to meet going into this first game week. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of summarize where things went, how the camp went overall?
Well, I thought we reported on August 9th. I thought our camp went really well, really smooth. Year two, 2/3 of our team really understood what the objectives were going in. That was to obviously get better as a football team fundamentally in each unit, and come together, offense, defense, and special team to form a team that goes and competes each Saturday. I tell our guys every day, they only promise us 11 of them. So how do you go out and you compete each Saturday is really important. So we've talked about 4 things in our team, what the characteristics of our team are, and we're building that. We're not there yet. We're building that. We want to be a disciplined team. We want to be a tough team. We want to be a relentless team. We want to be a focused team. And that's all I ever talk about really with our football team. And I think we're on progress. I think we're on schedule. Obviously, we're not there yet. We're in year 2 of this thing. But I really felt like camp went well for our football team, and we're on schedule.
I'm sure there's a lot more confidence because of that, or at least being more comfortable going into this first game. Obviously, you're not facing Maryland like you did. So right. The overall, I guess, psyche of the team going into this opener as compared to maybe a year ago.
Well, I don't think there's any difference, Kirk, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think we try to worry about ourselves going into openers and not who the opener is against. We try to worry about where we are. And I think the process where we are right now is I think our team's growing together. Offense, defense, special teams. I think we're all coming together. I feel like we're ahead of pace when we were last year this time. I think we're obviously there's more of a sense of understanding of what the standards are and how we want to do things. So I don't worry so much about the opponent level. I worry more about us being on pace for our standards and where we want to be in week one.
You already did talk about personnel you don't have, but back in February, you announced who were going to be new Dukes.
Yeah.
You have not been shy in saying you will play freshmen. So
Yeah.
can you share with us a little bit about who some of those new faces we might expect to see out there pretty early?
Well, I will tell you this, and I hate to talk about freshmen before the first ball game. I don't mention names at all before the first ball game. Here's what I'll tell you: in our two deep and beyond, we have some 3 deep. We're starting to build some depth where we got 3 guys at positions, which is what you're trying to do in year 2. There'll be 12 guys. There'll be 12 freshmen and redshirt freshmen that'll be in that 2 deep and beyond. And what I feel differently about this group than I did a year ago, this group I think is, and no knock on last year's freshman class, the 2014, this group is more talented, more athletic, and has a little bit more of a football IQ. And I really like I said, I think I said this at my press conference back in Media Day, I really like this football team. Not so much because of those things. I just think these guys really, really like football.
So you did out-recruit your first class, is what you're saying?
Well, that's the objective.
Yeah.
We'll try to out-recruit these guys here in 16. So that's kind of the objective each year.
All right, let's talk a little bit about maybe some of the units. I want to start with the defense, and it looks like with the rotation that you might have up front on that defensive line, would that be safe to say your spearhead this year is what you do up front?
Yeah, I feel like up front we've made some we've made some personnel moves. We moved some guys around, but I feel real good about that. The first 6 guys in our front 3. Simeon Robinson came on last year, had a really good year. Now behind him, we get Evan Asuji back, who was a really talented player. We thought going into last year, got hurt. I think in pregame warm-up at Delaware. Tore an ACL in pregame warm-up. So we got Evans back. So we feel like we got a good depth and rotation procedure there inside. Alex Mosley and Xavier Gates at the ends. We feel really good about those 2 guys, 2 big, strong guys. Alex has really done an unbelievable job of adjusting to being more of an edge guy for us. And Xavier is a big, strong guy that can play inside or outside. And then really you start talking about depth behind those guys. Cornell Urquhart, who's now a sophomore, a big, good-looking defensive end. And we moved Brandon Brown from tight end over there. And Brandon's had an unbelievable camp. And we feel like we hit a home run with Brandon going over from tight end, where he was a third-team tight end. Now he's the second-team defensive end and going to get 20, 30 snaps a game. So we feel real good about the rotation up front where we are there.
Gage Steele is back, and he's ahead of his game from where he was a year ago because he was injured at this time. It took him a little while, quite obviously, to kind of catch on there too. And among your returning linebackers there, the linebacking core, can you speak to that group?
Yeah, those Gage Steele and Kyrie Hawkins are our 2 guys inside that were returning. Outside at Jack and Sam, we moved Justin Wellens from safety to outside linebacker. He put on about 15 pounds, and we feel like he's found a home at Sam linebacker. We feel like it's a natural fit for him. Asin Jacques, who was hurt last year, most of last year is back at our Jack linebacker, and we feel good about those 2 guys there. And then also behind Asin, we have Andrew Ankara and David Azagwu. So we've got some depth at our Jack linebacker, and we can actually move some of those guys around to be our 4th rusher when we get to our rush package. So we feel good about those guys. Behind the inside backers, Gage and Kyrie, Brandon Herford, who we just put on full scholarship this year. Brandon's probably as talented a walk-on kid as I've ever been around. and we're excited about him. And then we've got a couple freshmen that'll play with us in the inside backer. We feel real good about that inside backer core, not only this year but years in the future. So we're excited.
Let's go to the other level, a little further now down to the secondary. And, Taylor Reynolds stands out certainly as a very experienced cornerback, former quarterback. He's become a leader of your team as well. Let's talk about that unit.
Well, that unit, the first group, I feel really, really good about. Feel really good about the second group. They just hadn't played a lot of snaps, but they're very talented. The two corners, Taylor Reynolds and Jordan Brown. Jordan Brown and Taylor Reynolds give us a big athletic, what we think are physical corners, and it's kind of what, being a secondary coach, I feel real good about having big, long, physical corners, and that's what we have out there now. So we're excited about that. The two safeties, Raven Green and Marcel Johnson, are two good-looking safeties that can run around, physical guys. So we feel like the first four in our secondary are really, really talented and have kind of that what you want on your football team as far as size and speed and that type thing. Now we got to get those guys to play at a high level, and that'll be a challenge for us this year. Behind those guys, a bunch of young guys, a bunch of freshmen, but they're very talented guys that seem to love playing the game, very knowledgeable of the game, good football IQs. And again, I don't talk a whole lot about freshmen until they actually take a snap. So when these guys start taking snaps, I'll start talking about them.
Fair enough, Coach. Let's flip it. I started on the defensive line. On the offensive side, start on the line again. You've moved some guys around from the defense to that side.
Yep.
But you, from all indications, feel very confident, and Vad feels very confident about the guys in front of him.
Yeah, we made some changes in our offensive line. We felt like we wanted to get a particular type, body type over there, and we wanted to get bigger and longer and more athletic over there, and to do what we want to do on offense. We moved Aaron Stinney from defensive line to offensive line. He'll be starting at left tackle for us. So we feel real good about him. He'll have a freshman backing him up. We'll also have more depth behind him from some other guys. We moved Austin Lane to offensive guard. We feel like that was a home for him. And then we moved Dom Richards from tackle to center, which we feel like was a perfect fit for what we wanted to get done in our offensive line. The other guys that'll play behind those guys inside, Nick Edwards will play some at guard, and Casey Kroll will play some at guard and center. Very talented, very smart young man that can do both. And Kyle Rigney will be a backup center for us. On the other side, we moved Matt Franks back to offensive line. Matt was a offensive lineman when I got here. We moved into defense for depth purposes, and we felt like we kind of shored up some things on defense. Was we wanted to get him back over on the offensive side, and we also awarded him some scholarship money also. So Matt's he's one of the strongest linemen on our football team, and tough physical kid. So we're excited about him. Behind him, A.J. Bolden will be a guard behind him. And then out on the outside, Mitchell Kirsch, who was an all-conference player last year at tackle, is back for us there. And then behind him, freshman Richard Jew will be out there. So we've got a number of guys. Austin Lane can play guard in both tackles. Casey Kroll can play center in both guards. So we're trying to build depth within our numbers. We've got a number of young freshman offensive linemen that it'd be my druthers if they didn't have to play this year, but some of them may, and they're talented. So again, building depth for years to come is kind of our goal right now.
I'm going to start in the quote-unquote receiving core by asking about the tight end, Dean Cheatham. You'll put him at tight end. How do you anticipate using that position this year as compared to a year ago?
Well, I think we want to continue to grow that position. We kind of started off in the elementary school levels of that position last year, meaning it was not so much a detached position for us. It'll be a little bit more of a detached position for us, or more of a fourth wide receiver position for us at times. It'll also be a running back position for us. It'll also be an H-back position for us, and it'll also be a tight end position for us. Dean is capable of doing a lot of different things in a lot of different areas on the field, so we're gonna use his abilities and his talent. Obviously, he's one of our captains, so We're excited about having him back. John Kloosterman, who had an unbelievable freshman year as a freshman walk-on, we upped his scholarship money because of what he's done in our program so far, mostly on special teams than at tight end. But he's that big, good-looking tight end that you look for, more of that Y tight end, where Dean's more of that U tight end, that move tight end. So we're excited about those two guys. We moved Daniel Sheely from quarterback over there, and he's progressing well. I would expect by some point in time, midseason, Dan will be ready to play for us at tight end and be able to give us that third tight end. So we're excited about those guys.
Receivers, Brandon Ravenel kind of stands out as the leader among that group, at least in my mind. But you've, again, switched a few guys around there, at putting guys in the slot, for example.
Well, that H position for us is kind of that hybrid position. It's a receiver / running back. We moved John Miller there. Rashad Davis is there. We've got another young man there. He's a freshman, but he's a talented young man that we feel like we're excited about to see where he grows in that position. Brendan had a good 2014 campaign. We expect more from him. We think he's going to have a big year. So we're excited about him. We signed a junior college receiver, Damo Taylor from Georgia Military, that we feel real good about out at the X position. And also we have back Ishmael Hyman. So we feel like we've upgraded our receiver position. We lost two of our top three leading receivers, but we feel like physically we've upgraded that position. Again, there's a couple other freshmen that will get involved in that receiver core, but we feel real good about it.
In this offense, to have a bevy of running backs is very important, with so many plays that you can run in a ball game. And it looks like you're going to have some guys back there that have been waiting in the wings and about ready to go.
Yeah, having Carden Johnson back is really, really good for our football program. And Carden's been waiting a long. I know we talked about it earlier. He's been waiting a long time to get on the field and play. It was a shame that we lost him 2 springs ago to an Achilles, but he's had an unbelievable offseason, a great spring, and an even better training camp. So we're excited about getting Carden a number of carries. And then Khalid Abdul is, picked up where he's left off. He's had a really good camp. I think the competition that those two guys bring for each other every day have made them both better. And then Taylor Woods, and people don't know this, he may be the most technique, fundamental, and assignment sound of any of the guys in our backfield. He knows the protections, he knows the routes, he knows the checks, he knows everything about it, and he's also a big-time special teams player for us. So those 3 guys, and obviously we've got another freshman we signed. It was a highly recruited kid that we feel like in a couple weeks we'll get him back and get him in the mix. So we're going to play 4 guys this year back there because we want, again, it's not the old days where you get 35 carries a game. And running backs usually in the old days, they'd get about 40 seconds off between plays. You get about 10 off between plays in this offense. So we're excited about having the numbers.
Certainly, and no question who the quarterback was going to be. We knew that a year ago, basically. But, Vad, his comfort level just going into this, he seems to be really in control with this team, basically.
Yeah, I think he's had a really good camp. I think what's been real neat to watch Vad is how he has become even more than he was, and I thought he was doing it a lot last year toward the middle and latter part of the season, becoming a lot more inclusive of everybody. His relationship with the offense, his relationship with the defense is really, really neat to watch, and he's become that team leader, that guy that the guys kind of look to. But the thing I like about him is he takes those other quarterbacks and they do work together. And it's kind of neat to watch him take his unit and really try to help grow his unit. And that's neat to see a young man that came in here that had no idea what James Madison was like and didn't know the culture, didn't know what it was, didn't know where Harrisonburg was 2 years ago. So for him to be in the position he is now is kind of what college athletics is about when you want to grow leaders and mentors.
Let's go to special teams real quick. Who do we expect there?
Yeah, well, our punting duties will go to last year's guy, Gunnar Kane. Gunnar's had a really good camp. really kicking the ball well and punting the ball well. So we're excited about Gunner. The kickoff duties really kind of still up in the air. We'll make some decisions this week, but Ryan Maglio has done a really good job of kicking off so far during camp. We got another young man, Tyler Gray, that's had a really good camp, really strong legs. So we're excited about Tyler and his progression, where he could be as far as helping us in the kicking game. So we're excited about that. So Ryan will be our PAT field goal guy, but he'll also, be challenged a little bit by Tyler in that too. So we're excited about both of those two guys. Nick Delgado is a backup punter for us. He's had a good camp, a freshman. So, we feel like we've got 4 guys there. We feel strong with our snapping, our long snapping, and our holding, our holder positions. So we feel good about all of those specialty positions. Our punt returners, we feel good about. We're going to use back deep. You may see on kickoffs, you may see Brandon Ravenel. You may even see Dean Cheatham back there. You may even see Carden Johnson back there. As far as punt returners, you may see Rashad Davis. You'll also see John Miller back there, and you'll also see a freshman back there that we feel like has got a chance to be a special punt returner for us in the future. So we're excited about our specialty positions and our return game.
All right. Well, I appreciate you going through all of that, of course, as we get ready for this 2015 season. Now let's move on. The opponent being the Eagles of Morehead. As you've started to certainly prepare for them a while back, looking at game tape and what have you. They played Richmond last year.
Yeah.
Can you give us some type of perspective on what you may anticipate from them going into Saturday's opener?
Well, it's funny. Last night I pulled back out Richmond. I pulled back out Charlotte tape from last year, 2 opponents that they played last year. And you see a well-coached team. You see a team that plays with a lot of effort, and I feel like a tough team. At times they may have been overmatched at some spots, but you can tell that they're well coached in what they do. They have a very dynamic offense, a little bit in the mode of what we do. I think Coach Tyner's done a good job with that offense, and he runs it. They had an unfortunate thing happen to them last spring. They lost their offensive coordinator to cancer. But I think the head coach does a good job of running that offense. I think it's his offense. So it's going to be a challenge for us defensively because they do some things that give you some issues. Really talented quarterback, 2 really talented receivers. Their 4 to 5 offensive linemen are new, but they do have a really, really good right tackle. That's a good player. Defensively, again, they had some struggles last year, gave up a bunch of yards last year. I think they've made some adjustments on defense. They're a 4-down team, quarters team. They will pressure you some. So, what we're expecting, it's really hard for me to tell you what we're going to get, what their mindset's going to be coming into the ball game. That's why we do a lot of work on us. We worry about us and handling us. But I expect a well-coached, disciplined, tough, aggressive football team coming in here on Saturday.
All right, some general statements there about the Eagles. That kickoff is 6 o'clock at Bridgeport Stadium. We do indeed have other members, of the media here, so we'll open it up to other questions. Gentlemen?
Coach, you discussed the expectations of your team overall. In terms of this game, what are you expecting out of your players in terms of seeing progress from what you guys have been working on?
Well, again, it's game 1 of year 2, so the progression from camp. Hopefully, what we can get done is see our offensive line who hadn't played together, come together and play well. We want to be able to run the football. We want to be able to do those things. I think one of the things that I'd like to see is I'd like to see 3 running backs, be able to carry the ball and find out what they can do in the run game and in the pass game. As far as not necessarily catching passes, but in the protections. I'd like to be able to see those things. I like to see some of our new receivers, and not even our new receivers, all our receivers in the perimeter blocking game, how well we do there. I want to be able to see that. I like to see what big playability we have with some of the receivers. that we have, because that was one of the things we wanted to do. We wanted to go get some guys that can beat one-on-one and be able to make some plays in the passing game. Defensively, I like to see, obviously, improvement. I like to see our three down guys play well up front. I want to see how we can manage a rotation in our three down, 3-4 looks. I'd like to be able to see who are going to be our pass rush. We spent a lot of time on working our pass rush. We feel like we got a chance, to be even better than we were last year, pass rush wise. And the reason I say that is last year, those outside linebackers that were fourth rushers didn't have a coach. They got a coach this year, so hopefully we're better fundamentally at what we do there.
When you look back at year one, as you enter year two, and look at how you coached this team, what did you learn about yourself at leading this program?
I learned a lot about just patience that you have to have with some young players. Doesn't mean you have to limit or cut back on your expectations, but also patience that you have to have. We had to have patience with Vad Lee last year. Vad Lee wasn't a quarterback that we knew we were going to get at the end of the year, but we knew we had to be patient in his growth, and I think it paid dividends for us. There are going to be some guys early that didn't play last year that we're going to have to be patient with this year. So I think patience is key. And again, patience doesn't mean settling for less in your standards. Okay, I want to make that clear. We have high standards from what we do, and patience means, we know some guys are going to make mistakes. We're going to still demand, excellence from them, but we're also going to understand that they're going to make some mistakes, and we're going to have to coach them to get those mistakes corrected.
And unlike last year, you get to open the season at home. How is that a benefit not only to your team but also the program to get off on the right foot in front of the home crowd?
Well, I think it's fun to be able to open up at home and let your fans see your football team in year two, and hopefully we can use being at home, in my mind, as a way to evaluate our football team. When you're going on the road, sometimes there's so many things that you worry about that first game. You worry about the hotel you're staying at. You worry about the opposing team's fans being in that hotel. You worry about a bunch of different things. When you're at home, you're sleeping, in something that's similar to what you've been sleeping in. You get to go dress in your own locker room. So those are things that are kind of checked off the list. Now, as a coach and coaches, I think we get to look at personnel. We get to look at evaluation and personnel. Obviously, we want to go win the game. The bottom line is to go win the game. But I get to go evaluate. It's a long year. It's a long journey. So our job is we want to be better in week 2 than we were week 1, and that's kind of one of our goals. Wow, easy.
There you go, Coach.
Huh?
I was your toughest interviewer today, so. All right. Thank you, Coach. Again, we'll be here every Monday with Coach Withers here at O'Neill's Grill on University Boulevard in Harrisonburg, just a short distance from the JMU campus. And again, kickoff is at 6 o'clock. You can watch the game on Matazone HD Sportsnet. We'll be in pregame coverage at about 5:35. And 2.5 hours prior to that, we'll have our Matazone pregame show live from Godwin Field. So, Coach, thank you very much. Good luck this week against the Morehead State Eagles. We'll talk to you next Monday here at O'Neill's Grill.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.